you're going to manifest your specific person by the end of the month because, yes, this is a challenge that you literally cannot fail. And so if you're up for the challenge, I'm going to walk you through exactly what we need to do. And very basically, we are just only going to accept exactly what we want in our reality, but in a loving way, meaning we're only going to give attention, energy, commitment, positivity towards the things that we want, but never give even an ounce of effort to anything that we don't. So basically, what you're going to be doing is persisting in your imagination until your reality catches up. And there's a specific way I actually want you to view this to make it even easier. So I want you to imagine or think upon what I call the waiter method. So in your reality, kind of like your For You page, I guess, or YouTube suggestions, you're going to act as if a waiter is consistently bringing you out food, bringing you out potential things that you would want, just like your reality is going to do, and you are just going to pick and choose and deny what you don't want. So maybe they bring something out, a portion of it that you want. So your specific person shows up a portion of the way that you're desiring. You are going to accept that portion, but you're going to deny the rest. You're basically going to say, no thank you, that's not my order. And that's all the attention that you are ever going to give to something negative. As well as this of that's not my order, you can also say that's not for me. Because technically, your imagination and your assumptions, your state of being is always going to reflect in your reality. And so if we can persist regardless of what is happening, again, not that we're denying it, not that we're pushing against it, not that we're fighting it, we're just actually going to give no attention to it. Because, and this actually happened recently in a coaching session, there's a huge difference between manifesting being with your specific person and manifesting away a circumstance. And I'll give you an example of this. So let's say you are currently manifesting your specific person and you are going to take a part in this method, the waiter method, or the idea that we're only going to accept what we desire. If there's currently a third party, this means that you are not manifesting away a third party. Or if you're in long distance, you're not manifesting away distance. You are manifesting what you want in the positive and only accepting that. Because like I mentioned, there is a huge difference between manifesting away a third party and manifesting what you desire. Because if we look at our internal state with either of those, you can tell your energy and focus are going to be on something. You just have to make sure that something is exactly what you want. Meaning, if someone is manifesting away a third party, their mind must then create a third party in order to manifest away. Meaning, and this has actually happened before, but changed immediately when the focus changed, if you continuously try to manifest away third parties, you will technically just be manifesting more third parties. But if you imagine yourself with your specific person and you only accept and give attention to that, for example, if your specific person shows up, talks about a third party, mentions a third party, or says anything in relation to a third party, that's when you would come into this account and say, no thank you. Well, you might not say it out loud, but you would say, no thank you, that's not my order. I can only imagine if you said that to your specific person. Or, that's not for me. Just like in a way, a nonchalant way, if a waiter was coming to you, to your table, and stating, I'm going to try to find exactly what you want. Just tell me yes or no, right? We don't need to fight against it. There's nothing that we're pushing against. We just say, no thank you. This keeps us in a loving and abundant state, which matches our end state in the easiest way possible. I also want you to begin setting this intention every single morning. So what you are going to do, so for this 30 days, and again, you are probably going to manifest much sooner than you think, but I want you to start every single day with the idea or the phrase, today I only notice what reflects my desire. That's it. You're only going to, well, as an affirmation, but you are going to act it out. You are only going to notice exactly what reflects your desire, and anything else you're going to completely get rid of. Yes, there will be times in which portions of your reality reflect, but we want to persist in our imagination regardless of what is happening, and you'll see how quickly your state changes and just how happy, abundant, and positive you become only focusing on what you want. It really is that simple. And it's actually something Neville Goddard talked about a lot in his stories and metaphors of people he would help and coach, and like stories, people that would come to his lectures. One time, just to really quickly summarize one, he had this individual, and I might not get it correct because I don't know the last time I've actually read it, but he talks about a gentleman, a couple that had open land next to them, and they wanted to manifest that there was a rental building to basically give them a bunch of money because it was in a perfect spot in a perfect place. And so what they did was they imagined for the outcome, which of course we all know to do that, but within I think it was a few days or within a week, a real estate agent comes up to them and starts to tell them, hey, you should build this building. I could give you this, you could hire me, you could do this or that. But within their imagination, they wanted to do it without spending a dime. And so this person coming up to them is very good, and they would give positive attention to it, but they didn't fully accept it and said, oh, no, thank you. We're looking to do it blank, right? They were looking to do it completely for free. So they thanked him for his interest and then kept within their imagination. They didn't try it. They didn't act it out. They didn't think, maybe I'll just accept less than what I want because this is the only opportunity I'm going to get. That's not what they did. And to make this long story short, he keeps coming back, making the offer even better and better for them until he ends up doing it for free, and all they have to do is pay him back with the rental fees. And that's what they imagined within their mind, and so they just accepted it, and then they manifested everything basically without doing anything. Someone else did all the work. And that's exactly what you're going to do in your manifestation, because everyone and everything outside of you is literally just reflecting you. And that's the same outcome. But remember, and this is very vital, they didn't try to convince their reality. They didn't try to convince the real estate agent that they had to do it this way, or it should only be done this way. Or they didn't bite their head off when they made them an offer because they were thinking, well, I'm only accepting it for free. How dare you try to offer me this? They didn't do any of that. They accepted everything with love and positivity. And that's exactly what we want to do here. So if something shows up that's not your end-all be-all, and that's actually usually what creates frustration. We think that because our specific person is showing up in a certain way, that it's impossible for them to show up any other way, and that's why we get upset. That's why we get angry. That's why our logical mind, well, maybe not angry or upset, but we do get annoyed, and that's why our logical mind thinks we have to try to change it in our reality, that we have to put in a bunch of effort, do a bunch of stuff in order to make it occur. But you don't have to do any of that. Persist in the waiter method, that the waiter is bringing you food and you can only accept what you want, because that's exactly what the couple individuals did with the Neville Goddard manifestation. They didn't fight against it. They just said, oh, no, thank you. That's not my order. That's not for me. That might be for someone else. Someone else might like that, right? But not me. That's the outcome I want. But it's always a happy and a fun and a positive experience. In the same way, if your specific person's showing up with a third party or long distance or whatever, we would remain in that loving state but say, well, that's not for me. That's not my order. I ordered a specific person obsessed with me. I ordered them loving me. I ordered them close to me. I ordered them loyal to me, faithful to me. All of that. And you can actually, which I didn't write in my notes, but is something you can actually do. I would write down your order in the comments. What is your order? Your reality is a waiter. They're waiting to get you exactly what you want. What is your order? But of course, because of our reality, sometimes they bring up things we don't want, but we just don't accept them. Oh, no, thank you. That's not my order. Exactly what you do in a restaurant. You would say, oh, I didn't order that. I ordered the chicken, or I ordered the steak, or I ordered the soup, whatever. We would always approach it with love. And as well as this, so because this is a challenge, right? Don't forget that this is a challenge. You are in this with me, and you've commented your order down below, and so it must occur, right? But what I want you to do as well as this, I want you to create a desire-only log, kind of like a success journal, right? Where you're only going to write down events that align with what you want, and you are going to refuse to write down anything that doesn't. Kind of like you are accepting, what are you accepting as an order in your reality? Because the more we actually put attention to the things we want, the more we're going to see more of that. So that's something that we absolutely want to do. So keep that journal. Maybe even you could use this video as a journal. That would be really fun, because then I can keep you can keep me updated on everything that's happening with your manifestation. But save it or comment, or just keep commenting on your own. What is it that's aligning with your end? Because when you start to do that, your reality starts to understand your order more. Kind of like the waiter coming to you and you're like, oh, well, I want the green beans. And they're like, oh, okay. They chose the green beans, but not the salmon. Okay. So let me think. It like changes what they're going to bring to you next. In the same way, your state is going to change what your reality is going to bring to you next. And as well as this, start to get comfortable with all of the positives that begin to occur. So when your reality is going your way, I want you to say to yourself, of course, that's exactly what I accept. That's exactly what I wanted. Give a lot of attention and energy to the things you want, because the higher the energy, the more effort with attention and imagination that we give towards what we desire, the more it's going to bring it to us, right? The less attention and energy we give to what we don't want, the less of that we'll receive. It's all about attention, belief, assumptions, and just what you're assuming to be. Right? Your state of being. And if your state of being is someone who gives a lot of energy to things that they want, that's what you're going to see. And I also want to let you know, if you are seeing anything in your reality that you're kind of iffy about, right? You don't know if it is or if it's not. What I want you to ask yourself is, does this reflect what I've accepted as mine? That's all you're going to do. Does this reflect what I've accepted as mine? If no, it is in the category where you are not giving attention to it, right? It's not what you want. Oh, no, that's not my order. I ordered blank. Or if it is, you would say, yes, that's a portion of my order. I love this and I accept this. So if your specific person is texting you more, calling you more, asking you out on dates, or you're seeing more signs in your reality, people are reflecting what you want, you are going to give attention and energy to that, because that matches with your order more than it would in the opposite. Yes, it may not be your full order, but remember, it's a portion of your order nonetheless. But we are still going to keep our imaginative act on our end. Because someone actually asked me that as a question of, because Neville Goddard would always talk about not focusing on the middle. And they just asked me, hey, Kyle, if we're seeing our reality and positive things are happening and we're accepting that, or we're imagining, I think it was specifically, if we're imagining our specific person behind the scenes acting in a way that aligns with it, isn't that the middle? It can be perceived as the middle if you are only focusing on that. But the only thing I would add, when we think of the middle or what's going on, or accepting like a portion of your desire, right? If that's the case, remember, that's just supposed to support your end state. That's not your end goal. That's not where you're stopping. It's just something to recognize that you're doing amazingly, and it propels you further to the end. Because imagine how hard manifestation would feel, right? Would feel if you were getting absolutely zero feedback, right? Zero feedback, yes, you can do it, because nothing in your external reality is technically telling you how close or how far you are away. But I always like to use, and this is what I've found manifests the quickest, if you use every possible thing to support your belief, you are going to make that concrete, or that belief, absolutely sturdy and concrete and unwaverable. Because yes, we can just assume something, but it doesn't always feel that way. So if you're someone who could just assume something, that's that, right? Just assume it and nothing else. If you do find yourself wavering sometimes, that's where you would go into your assumption and imagine something positive that your specific person is doing in your reality that helps, so it's to support the belief of your end state. And today for the challenge, I wanted to show you a success story about how commitment to an idea, in which you're doing right now in this video, is going to manifest what you want. So I work with this individual, but on a day, they made a promise to themselves that no matter what, they were going to match their goal of meeting their specific person for the week. And of course, as you can see from the text message, they ended up doing it. But if you look at it, the most amazing portion of it is the fact that they committed to this idea. They were, in a sense, acting out the waiter method. They were only going to accept what they wanted. Remember though, we always want to do this with a state of love and positivity, because that's the best way to do it. That's the way that we're going to align with our end state, and that's how you're going to manifest exactly what this person is manifesting. But you could actually put in anything. You could put, if your end state is them being obsessed over you, change hanging out with being obsessed over. If it's hanging out every day, maybe the reality is you're only accepting hanging out every day in a loving and positive way. Or you're being proposed to or married or moving in together. It really doesn't matter. you can, whatever it is that you desire can be your end state. So this person chose to meet up more often with their specific person. That was the decision they were going to make, and I would never question a desire. So maybe you do want to see your specific person this week. Maybe you do want to manifest for the month, but you want to see them this week. That's okay, right? Make the decision that you are going to do this. Act as if you're only accepting what you desire from the waiter of your reality, and you will see your entire reality change so much faster. Because again, this is a challenge, so you basically have no choice. You already wrote down your menu or your order from the menu of your reality that could be anything. And so I'm excited to see how you do. As well as this, after your order, make sure to comment any questions that you have at all about your specific person, your manifestation, anything, successes, worries, anxieties. I love to hear it all. As well as this, you can also reach out to me on my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. If you are absolutely in this and you are going to do this challenge with me, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Shout out to all my members, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.